Okay, let's start the English version today. I have in today's discussion, we will discuss about the significant improvement of the Russian army this year. I want to make the long-term show the significant improvement of Russian this year can be divided into three parts. The first part is the strategy. The strategy significant improvement. The second part is the drone, the drone usage and artillery significant improvement. The third part is the intelligence improvement. And additional, the fourth part is the mobilization improvement of the Russian army. And that's the first, the first one I have to discuss about is the strategy improvement. Right now, the last year, why the Russian army so sucks is because that the improvement of they want too much. They are too greedy. They want to they launch the direction of six direction with several troops, and they want to acquire Kiev in 3 days or in 24 hours. So their goal is too greedy, and they too underestimate the Ukrainian army, and so they hit they eat their food in a very big in a certain level. So this is the main part between the main part why Russia failed last year. But this year, the strategy of the Russian has changed a lot. Nowadays the strategy of Russia is to hold the land. I mean, to hold the occupied area. Right now, Russia still has to occupy nearly 80% of the Ukrainian territory, and their strategy is that if they can hold the line, and they can force the Ukrainian army to surrender through negotiable peace, or even surrender after maybe 5 years or 10 years. Only if Ukrainian cannot reacquire or liberate those occupied areas. Also, this is the main strategy of the Russian army this year, and it is expected that by next year or 2 years later, Russia will have still the same strategy about the defensive strategy of this one, because no matter how hard, how ashamed the Russia's army performs, if they can keep the 80% of the Ukrainian territory, they still win. Ukraine still lose. So this is the first thing that they change their strategy, go into a more practical way, and this has really changed a lot of the war situation. We think, oh, that yet Russian don't annihilate the Ukrainian army. Russia don't take away all the whole territory of Ukraine, and that means that the Ukraine win. But in fact, this is the most ideal imagination of the Russian army. For Ukrainian army, their main goal is to liberate all of the occupied territory. So because they want to liberate all of our territory, their goal of win is very, very, very it's very, very extremely big, and it may be a little bit too big to acquire. Okay, so that's big, and for Ukrainian people, the occupied 80% of the territory is unacceptable. So they will strive to try to liberate as much as they can. They want to strive and liberate the occupied territory as much as they can. So this war will have a new angle. The new angle is that how Ukraine have a counter attack, and how Russia have to smash Ukrainians counter attack. And this is not this will be kind of interesting, but kind of long in the next 3 stages of territory. And many people are expected that the Ukrainian may have a counter-offense, but I have to tell you that the first stage of the counter-offense is failed. So Ukrainian suppose it doesn't exist. And the problem is that the Ukrainian has spread one propaganda that they have the big spring counterattack. Yeah, and the result is it seems that no counterattack about the spring. The only way they may have the counterattack is about attacking Belgorod. Yes, attacking Belgorod is in certain level it is a counterattack. This is for sure. But the problem is the operation of Belgorod is not very successful. If you have seen my live streams, 2 months ago, that means that you can observe that the president has already known the counter-attack plan of the Ukrainian army. So Prigozhin apparently has spread this intelligence through the Russian Defense Ministry of Defense in Russia. So the Russian Defense of the Defense Ministry of Defense in Russia and had apparently received the plan of the counter attack of Ukrainians. So they apparently have some distribution. They have some plan to smash Ukrainians' plan. So although that Ukrainian indeed has some access, or more precisely, the Free Russian Legion has acquired some of the land in Belgorod. But the problem is the main strategic victory about acquire the Belgorod city, about acquire nearly all land of Belgorod, failed. So this is a big problem. Although that the counter-attack of the Belgorod has many positive effects. For example, this positive effect is that the Ukrainian government can spread the information about the Belgorod in order to hide the truth that the Bakhmut city is occupied by Russia. They literally lose the battle of the Bakhmut recently. Yes, and then this is a very good political effect for the counter-attack operation in Belgorod. But the problem is that their original idea is that if they can take Belgorod city, they can negotiate with Russia by the Belgorod city. Because for Putin, the fall of the Belgorod city is unacceptable, because Russia is a very big country, Ukraine is a very small country, and the big country is extorted by the small country. This scenario is totally unacceptable. So Putin will definitely try to negotiate and require the Belgorod city, and the price of the Belgorod city will be maybe either the southern part of Kherson or even Mariupol, and that is a very good scenario for Ukrainians, because that means the Ukrainian can have pay very small price to reacquire the land they want, like maybe the southern part for Kherson, or maybe the Mariupol, and because they nearly pay little price, so they can launch another counterattack plan after the explosion of Belgorod city. So this is the main. This is the main goal of the Ukrainian counterattack plan to attacking Belgorod, but apparently it failed. Okay, then the second part is that they launched a counterattack operation in Bakhmut city. They have reoccupied, they have liberated the suburb of the Bakhmut city. They migrated the village southwest to the Bakhmut city, or something north to the southwest city. But all of those counter-offense, there's a counter-offensive plan has stunned. They may reoccupy some land, but this is not enough to retake the Bakhmut city. The Ukraine still received the defeat of the Battle of Bakhmut. So the problem is that they perform the counterattack. Counterattack has not yet been has not started, but the problem is the counterattack plan has failed in the spring in the first attempt. So right now they are going to have the second attempt of the counterattack. Yeah, and then they are now spreading the summer counteroffensive plan. No, the spring counteroffensive plan is going into the summer counteroffensive, and we can expect that we will have fall counteroffensive plan, they have winter counteroffensive, and they will have another spring counteroffensive plan. Season by season, year by year, and then people will finally know, oh, okay, Ukraine cannot liberate the occupied territory in 2 years or maybe in 3 years, and people will finally like, oh, that the Ukrainian government are lying to them. So this is the first thing that make the war become different. The first thing is that because Russia has changed their goal, they has made a very practical goal for achievement, so that it is harder for Ukrainians to find the mistakes of Russia. And this is first. The second part is that the problem of the drone usage and the artillery. Right now, Russia has learned the great usage of the great tactics of Ukrainian. Ukrainian like to use the drone to find to target the direction of the enemy unit, and use the artillery for shelling. This is a very good, very clever way for in the 21st century by the drone technology. Now Russia has launched the Ukrainian technology. Right now, if you going to see the Russian Telegram like Rybar, like Grey Zone, like something military news info, and you will find that and they also post a lot of the drone video, and you can see the drone is more advanced than the Ukrainian one, because that the Ukrainian currently they only use DJI for many usage, and that's the main video of the sharing are DJI actually. And but Russia has apparently imported more kind of drone from China, and they have because China still have many drone company which is better than DJI. This is for sure. But DJI succeed because of its marketing strategy, but it is not succeed because of its technology. There are many many drone companies have better technology than DJI inside China, but this information is merely it's not everybody. It's a very cold knowledge. Okay, but that Russia apparently it had imported more kind of drone from China and more in more advanced one. I can see that the I mean the video has much more clarity than the Ukrainian one, and this is very impressive. I mean, when I look about the new drone video of sharing, this is pretty impressive for the Russian army. Yes, this is true. This is true that the Russian has improved about the tactics by the better drone technology, and Russia apparently had a better accuracy on their artillery system. And this after 1 month, the effect of their artillery improvement will be more significant, because Russia still nowadays currently Russia still had more artillery advantage to Ukrainian. The last year Ukrainian relied on its better tactics of artillery, but right now Russia has learned the lesson apparently, and Russia still had more artillery, share more artillery power to Ukrainian. So this sign will be this effect will be shown. It will be shown among the latter. Among that, you will see that nearly all of the assault operation of the Ukrainian army are halted. Because what? Because of that the Russian army has imported the drone tactic, and they have more accurate artillery shielding. So the Ukrainian tanks, the Ukrainian troops will be shelled more precisely, and they will have more casualty comparing to the current situation. So this is not the something we would like to see, but this is true, and this will happen no matter we want or not. This will happen. So I don't think that the tank is enough for Ukrainians to do counteroffensive. They definitely need F-16 for counteroffensive. But when will F-15 come to Ukraine? I think by next year. Yeah, I think by next year. So this year, I don't think any counter attack or the counter offensive plan will succeed. Okay, so I think they will all fail. And this is understandable because that the Russians have the legendary artillery will be much more precise than today. Okay, in the future. And Russia has I have researched a lot of the Russian Telegram, and Russia, it is apparent that Russia has mobilized people, mobilized workers to reproduce the shell. The shell factory is still on the working, just like the Soviet era. They generate the Soviet era weapon. They don't generate the newest technology. They only generate the Soviet era weapon. They sold the Soviet era ammo like 152 millimeter, 122 millimeter shell. They are generating it. I have looked at many of the Russian Telegram, and it shows that although this information isn't described very explicitly. It is a hidden intelligence inside Russia, but there are many clues shows that Russia indeed has reproduced the military strategies. Comparing to the Western world like the US, UK, and France, maybe Germany. The Russia is still a very a country which likes weapons, which like power, which like military power very much. So there are, you can just consider Russia as a fascist state now. Okay, this is true, and so there are their power, their capability on generating artificial is innegable. It's huge. You don't think about that the Western world had a better ability of manufacturing weapons than Russia. This scenario only happens when they are formally engaged in war. When the Western world are formally engaged in war, they have much better capability of the on the ammo manufacturing. But right now, the Western world is at the peace stage. That means they don't the Western world don't defaulted their industry capability into generating weapons, so that the Russia still can have as much capability of manufacturing weapons as the Western world. Also, this is something you have to know, that Russia won't have the ammo shortage currently. As I see, Russia won't have ammo shortage in the next 5 years. I don't know what will happen after 5 years, but in next 5 years, Russia won't have the ammo shortage problem, and Russia won't have the man shortage problem because now their mobilized troops will be sent to the mercenary group like Wagner Group or like something else like Gazprom mercenary group or something else. Let's use the mercenary group to train the mobilized troops, so that they will have the basic military skill. Also, but they have basic combat skill, and the basic combat skill, basic military skill will help those mobilized troops have the basic combat strength. They are not merely a cannibal. They can be used to fight in the front. They can be used to do something advanced. Okay, to go to launch offensive operation for those. But no matter they want to do offensive operation or not, but for defensive operation, this is pretty enough. So the counter-offense of plan of Ukraine will not be a very simple. It will not be very easy. It will be extremely difficult, and it will be more difficult in the future if the Western doesn't provide more powerful weapons. That will be a total disaster for Ukraine. But currently, the Ukraine, because Ukraine are suffered by shelling, they suffered a lot from shelling, so that the Ukrainian people cannot endure bad news. They cannot endure bad news, so they only receive the Ukrainian government only spread the good news and hide the bad news. So, but the Western allies think, oh, you have you only have good news. That means you don't have any bad news. So the Western allies apparently much overestimate the Ukrainian army's capability and much underestimate the capability of the Russian army, and they are too optimistic of the future of this war. They think the war will be end very soon. They think the war maybe end next year, but this is unlikely to happen. The problem of this scenario is that because the Western government are very optimistic about the future, so they will give less weapons to Ukraine. This is the problem. The main problem is that so the war will be more and more long, will be prolonged, and will get longer and get more difficulty. So if you ask me whether Ukraine, what is the Ukraine situation, I will say today this the situation is this year is extremely difficult. Don't look the apparent peace. The problem, there are many danger that arise from those details, arise from the improvement of the Russian army, arise from the war agenda of the Ukrainian government, arise from the miscalculation of the Western allies. So this will make the war longer and more bloody and make people die more. Okay, so this is today's my sharing. I will see you next week. Bye bye.